So good afternoon, everybody. How are we all doing, and how is our weekend going? So I hope we're all fine, and hope our weekend is going well. Fine too. Nice to meet everybody. The thing is, I think we'll continue with the class. I'm thinking maybe we should wait for two people more, but we don't know if they will join. So probably we'll just relay whatever we do to them after the class. The class is not going to take too long. It's just a practical class for what we've talked about, what we've been talking about for like 3 days now. So I'll make a quick recap. Please, this Sophia Diva, is she on this call? Should Okay, nice. So I'll make a quick recap of what we've been talking about for like 4 days now. I talked about web development. I talked about web development being divided into two main parts, front end and back end. Front end is the visual part of the website that you can see, while back end is what makes it work. And that's just a simple way of explaining what front end and back end means. And I said front end has its own technologies like the language, and backend also has its own. So front end comprises of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. HTML is for structuring web pages, okay, the text, everything. Then CSS is for styling the web pages, like the colors, what makes the website attractive, what makes it visually appealing to you when you enter the website. It's the work of CSS. Then JavaScript is for adding interactivity, like what makes it work, what makes your form submit. So when we were taking one of our classes last week, I made mention of I gave an example of a school portal that has a login page, like a login form where you can input your details, your email and your matric number and password, so that you'll be able to have access into your school portal. I said what makes that login form, what makes it being able to like submit your request. Maybe you've entered your matric number and your email. What makes it submit and enables you access to your portal is the work of JavaScript and some other technologies. So backend has Java, Python, Rust technologies, like the languages. So, and I made mention of the fact that if you are just getting started in web development, you would mainly start with front end, but it depends on your preference. You can decide that, okay, I don't want to go for front end, I want to go for back end, I want to make things work. Or you can decide that, okay, I just want to make it visually appealing. Then you feel like, okay, you want to just make it visually appealing, you want to deal with the front part, and you can decide that you want to deal with the back end. So that's like a quick recap of what we did on our first class. Yes, in our first class we talked about web development generally. I talked about HTML and JavaScript. I talked about Python. Me personally, I'm a front end developer and a UI designer. I'm not a back end developer, so I cannot really say much on back end. Can we all hear me? Can we all hear me? Okay, so I can only I can't really say much about backend because I'm not a backend developer, but I can only say the little I know about backend. So if you want to get started in web development, you would have to start with, well, I said it depends on your preference, but most people start with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Even most backend developers, they will still need to like have in most of them but let me say some of them, they still have a knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Even though they are not a front end developer, they do with back end. But most times they also require the use of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in their work. Maybe not too much, but a little. So they might. So it depends on your preference. Depends on what you want to go for. So I thought we started with HTML. HTML being the first technology or the language that you first learn when you enter web development. HTML is used for structuring web pages. The text that you can see, the way it is being arranged, is the work of HTML. So I talked about different tags in HTML. I talked about the H1 tag, that's the heading, like the bolder text you see, or should I? Yeah, it's the bolder text you see when you enter a web page. We can attribute that to the heading. Then the heading has different number. Like we have the H1 tag, that's the biggest, the bolder text you will see first. Then we have the H2, the H3, the H4, H5, H6, like that. The H6 is also bold, but is small. The text will actually be small. We have some self-closing tags. We have some tags that you don't need to close them. I will explain when we start doing practicals. Then I talked about the head part. What happens? Let me give you a shortcut when you want to write your HTML code. HTML comes with a default boilerplate. A boilerplate is a default code that comes with HTML. Like you don't need to type it, just one command, then you have it on your VS Code. VS Code is a code editor where we write codes. Please, are we following me? Can we hear me? Okay. So I already talked about the boilerplate is just a default code that comes with your technology, like the language you're writing in. Then we have the doc type. The doc type tells us that okay, this document is an HTML document. So we have the title. All of these are being wrapped in the head part. Then we have the body. The body is what houses the content of your website. Okay, if we have a website, like okay, my first web page, then you want to explain how you wrote your first web page, how you created your first web page. You would have to put it in a body tag, because that is what we house the content of what you are trying to explain. Then after H1 we have paragraph tag. Paragraph tag gives explanation about your code. Like okay, I am Oloyede. Okay, I can explain what I do for a living. Okay, I create website for a living, I make designs, I do this, I do that. You can write those ones in your paragraph tag. We have some other we have a break tag. A break tag is used to make spaces between your text. We have an horizontal tag, HR. It's used for making a line. We talked about I think I've made a summary of everything we talked about. So I'll share my screen so that you see. We'll just do a mini practical. And please, are we all with our system? Do we have our system or our phone where we can practice, and I'll be able to see or if we are getting what I'm trying to say? Can we all hear me? Are we all with our systems, or maybe our phones that has a code editor? I said we can. If you are using Android, you can download Threadit. If you are using iPhone, I don't really know much about that. Although somebody talks in the group that you can download Coda. I don't know if anybody using iPhone has downloaded that one. My friend, have you do you have that on your phone? Do you have it on your phone? Okay, you are sure with your system. Okay, yeah, with your, I hope we are all with our systems. And I don't, and Sophia, yeah. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Please, I want this class to be interactive. Okay. Okay. VS Code, yes, it's VS Code you download on your system. Okay, okay. We'll see if we can sort that out before the end of the class. Phone, yes, yes. Me Lane, please, are you with your system? Are you following? Tolulope, happiness. Hope you are following what I've been saying since. So I'll share my screen, then we'll just write small a small code to yeah. While I was explaining last week, I talked about other tags like the form tag, like forms are used for collecting information from people, like login form, sign up form. I talked about lists. We have ordered list. Ordered list is when you want to make a list of things accordingly, like step by step. Like, okay, I want to cook rice. I'll first put water on fire and then I'll wash my rice. Okay. Then on ordered list is when it's not compulsory for those steps to be in order. Like, okay, maybe, okay, I want to cook rice, then I feel like, okay, let me first put rice on fire, then pour water. That's not how to make rice. I'm just making an example so that you will understand what I'm trying to say, what I meant with ordered and unordered list. We talked about forms. We talked about when we start writing codes, you understand what I'm saying more better. So I'll share my screen so that we'll see. And when I'm writing my own, I want you all to be typing it on your. If you are using your phone, type it on your code editor. If you are using your system, you can. If you are listening to this, if you join this meeting using your system, you can also present and show us your what you've wrote. But if you are using phone, I don't really know. You can also present. If you can present and show us what you wrote, it will actually be fine. But let's see how it goes. So let me my screen. Good morning. No, sir. Yeah, IntelliJ is for Java, if I'm not mistaken. I the most popular, the most common editor for front end technologies is VS Code. One I'm more familiar with. VS Code is not. Are you using your? Did you use your system to join? Are you using your system for? No, I don't think so. I don't think. I'm using VS Code, so I will show you how you can use VS Code. I don't know about IntelliJ. I don't know about it, but I think it's actually for writing backend code. I'm not sure about that. So let's just write some code. So I sent this to the group yesterday. I explained the various tasks. Did hope we also what I sent to the group last night, right? Can we? Okay. So I explained. So let me for those that don't know how to use VS Code. Ahem. When you want to write your HTML code, you start with creating an index or HTML file. it's very important to have an index or HTML file in the root of your code, because when we start building websites, like, and we are deploying means you are making it accessible to other people. You are not the only, you will not be the only person that can view it again. Somebody can request for the link to your website, and you would give them the link. You'll be able to check the website. So that's what deployment means. And if you don't have an index.html file in your code, you will not be able to your deployment server. Let me just put it like that. Like, we have different, you might not really understand what I'm trying to say, but I would say it, then make reference to it when we get to that part. Your deployment server will look for the root of your folder, which is your index.html file. If it is unable to find that index.html file, your code will not be made accessible to other people. Like, it will not show. I'm trying to explain in a way you understand. Maybe when we get to that place, I'll explain. So you start with creating an index.html file. You can use any name to create a file, but you must make sure you have an index.html file in your code if you want to deploy. Do we all get what I'm trying to say? Can we hear? You must make sure you have an index.html file in your code. So I used i.html here because it's not something I want to deploy. It's not something I want to make live to other people to check. You can decide to do we wait we just started learning about web development, right? Does anybody have anybody heard about GitHub? Has anybody heard about GitHub? Okay, so GitHub is like GitHub is a deployment server, yeah, where you deploy your website to make it live and make it accessible to other people. We have Vasil. When we get to that part, you understand. We have Vasil, we have Netlify. These are platforms that allows us to make our website live and make it also accessible to other people. So, if assuming I'm deploying these websites, this small web page that we're going to write now, I will need to change my I to index.html file. You come to this icon, then you type index.html. Can we see what I'm doing? Are we following? Somebody raised their hand. Do you want to say? Okay, ma. Okay, ma. Okay, ma. So if you want to start with your first web page, let me call it web page because we've not deployed it yet. You would start with your the first naming must be index, then .html. .html means that's the name of the language you are writing your code in. If it is JavaScript, .js. If it is CSS, .css. If it is TypeScript, .tsx. Like that. So we'll start with, I mentioned boilerplate the other time. Boilerplates are default. They are like default codes that comes with the language you are writing in. For HTML, you type HTML. The version of our HTML is HTML5. So you click on HTML5. I talked about the document type, the language we are writing in, the language, the head houses the title of your web page, of your website. This title is what you see on the top of when anybody goes to your website. What they will first see is your title. Let's Then the body is what houses the content of your website. Please, are we following what I'm saying? And are we practicing on our various code editors? So we'll change the title. You can use any title for your own. Me, I'll change it to my first web page or my first website. You can use your name, maybe Rachel's website, happiness website. Just name it anything you are comfortable with. So my own will be my first web page. Then okay, I've not talked about live server. Live server is where you can see the output of your code. So how am I going to share this? When we are done, I'll show us the output. Live server is where we are going to see the output of what we're writing. When we are done writing, would see. And also the head tag is where various links are placed. Like if you want to link a JavaScript file to your web page, to your website, you put the link here. Let me the link. This is you if it is possible, you can be jotting these things down in a journal or a book, so that you would be able to make reference to them when you are practicing on your own. Do we understand what I'm saying? Can we all hear me? So the link, this is let me list the common tags you'll be working with out, then you write them down for easy reference. We have the head tag. This is what you can see. We have the body, we have the h1, we have the break tag br. Does not have is it does not have a closing tag. Okay, this is an opening tag, this is a closing tag. A closing tag will always have a, how will I say it, a back slash, let me say it like that, back slash. Why an opening tag does not need, you just, once when you start working with writing codes very well, when you start writing your code frequently, you get used to, you don't need to memorize any of these tags. Do you understand what I'm saying? You don't need to memorize tags in web development. You get used to them, you get used to you can say you get used to them. And when you start when you practice often, like you don't need to memorize tags, you don't need to memorize codes. Once you start building projects, once you start practicing on your own, you get used to those tags that you'll be working with. Do you understand what I'm saying? My friend, can you see my screen now? Oh, I think maybe, because is there any other person having the same issue? Can we all see my screen? Maybe. Okay, maybe it's your network. So this, then we have the link tag is used to make connections between different pages. Like maybe you wrote a JavaScript code for your website, maybe a function to. I don't understand what I'm saying now because we've not gotten to JavaScript, so I still need to know. I'm just trying to explain what the tag is used for. Then this link tag links the new file you just created to your main page, maybe your css, your javascript, like that. Then you can have different links in in this head tag. It depends on what you are trying to build. Then we'll go to our body tag. I mentioned that our body tag houses the content of our web page. So we'll write our first heading. We'll write our first heading. But when we started this class, I mentioned an additional thing, an additional tag that works with heading tag. Can anybody remind me of what I made mention of? What was the second tag I said you can use to explain what you wrote in your heading tag? Anybody that knows the answer can talk, so that I'll know if you are following me. If you've been following what I've been saying since morning. Who wants to answer the question for us? I said when I was talking the other time, I made mention of another tag that explains what you wrote in your heading tag, like an additional tag that works in hand with the heading tag. What's the name of that tag that I made mention of when I was explaining? Ma? No, no, we've not gotten to now. I said there's an additional tag that works with H1. Yes, I made mention of H1. That's the first heading. Then I said there's an additional tag that you can use to give explanation about what you wrote in your H1 tag. That means we're not getting what the paragraph tag. I said it gives, you can use the paragraph tag to make explanation, to explain what you wrote in your H1 tag, if you want to explain it. Sister Sister Rachel, do you hear what she said? She said the paragraph tag, and hope we all got what she said. Hope we all got what she said. Okay. So the paragraph tag gives explanation. You can use it to explain, just like normal school statistics, and write explain stuff in your paragraph tag. So we'll start. My H1 will be, you can write anything in your H1. Maybe you can write your name. Okay, I am Oloyede. Like my known name is Oyeladun, so I'll write Oyeladun's first webpage, or Oyeladun's website, or Oyeladun's webpage. Can we? I hope we are all practicing on our various. Are we all here? Are we also writing our code? We'll see the output of this when we finish writing. It's just a small practical of what we did. We started with our first class. Hope we all have this on our various code editor. Hope we all have this on our various code editor. Okay, so let's give some explanation about our H1 tag. Yes, I made mention of H2, H3, H4, 5, 6. Let's also write some things in H. Then write anything like that. I'll just put tags here so that you can make reference to them the more you write them, the more you, how will I explain? Your text will keep on getting smaller. The more you use different H1 tags. The H1 H tags rather. H1 is bolder one and the biggest among all the H1 to H6 tags. Then H5, H6, like that. Can if you like, you can fill in things there for you to see how it works. Hope we're also practicing this on our various VS codes. Hope we're also writing it. Because the more you get used to it, the easier it will be for you to grab this concept on time. Have we got into H6 tag? Have we all got into H6 tag? Sister Rachel, please, are you using your please, can you share your screen? Your phone. Okay, that means you cannot share your screen. Okay. Yes, sir. Sir? How did I create the index or HTML file? Okay, there's an icon here. This is a file, a new file icon. Once you click on this new file, you type the name of what you want to create. Please, can you see my screen? Click on this icon. Okay, do you have a folder on your system? Like, okay, you can open your VS Code, click on this icon. This is it will come with your VS Code automatically. Click on this new folder, then you create a new folder. Did you get what I'm saying? After creating the new folder, you open it in your VS in your you open it with code. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. Can you share your screen? Can you share your screen? Are you using your system? Please join with your system so that I can see your screen and explain. Sister Happiness, please, have you also got into this H6 tag? Have you written this? Are you using your system? Okay, you're using your phone. Then Sister Sophia and Timileyin, please, are you following us? Are you getting what we're doing? If you don't understand, please ask questions. Brother Timileyin, please, are you getting it? Okay, nice. Please, if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Hmm. Let's continue. The when so we've all got into H6 tag. Now make let's write a small explanation about what we've inputted in our H1 to H6 tag. Then you type P on your system, your code editor. P means paragraph tag. You click on it. Are we getting it? Those that are using phone, once you type P on your, you can, I don't know if your code editor will automatically bring complete the tag for you. Just use a less than sign, put your P in between, put your greater than sign to close it back, then for the second one too. Are you getting me? Please, are we getting me? Okay, so would continue, would make a short explanation, write a small explanation. Okay, this is my first web page. I started with HTML tags. I learned about I learned about the basics. Please, are we also typing this on our various code editor? I learned about HTML headings. H1 to H6. Okay. You click on this, move your cursor to the left hand side where we have file. Yeah, file. There's a file, yes. Then click on, there should be, you've created a folder, right? Created a folder. Okay, maybe just click on open folder. Maybe you just use any folder that you have on your system. Okay, then you can select. Okay, you can create a new folder. Yes, you can create a new folder. You can name it HTML basics. Then you right click after select folder. Then it should open like that. Then click on HTML basics. Click on HTML basics. This first icon, yes, index.html. Yes, index.html. Index.html. Yes, you don't have to use any, just type it. You don't have to use any font. Just type the name of your file. Yeah, you've created you've taken your first step in writing your code. So you type h type h HTML. No, no, no. Don't start with H1. HTML5. Click on HTML5. That's the version of HTML we are working with. Then for your title, you put your what you want on your as the sir. You don't need to worry about that. Your doctor type is the version is telling your user or is telling you that you are writing an HTML file, an HTML code. You are writing in HTML language. That's the meaning of doc type. The head tag houses the title of your web page. Then the title tag is where you write what you want to name your web page as. Like maybe you want it to be my first web page or your name. You can write. Okay, that will be what the user will first see when they type your when they get to your website. Then you come to your body tag. You write your first heading. You put your cursor inside your body tag. Move it to your body tag. No, there is an open space. That's where you put your cursor. The open line between. Yes, then you write your first heading H1. Click on H1. You can write your name. You can name it anything. You can write. You can also write H1 to H6, H2, H3. Move your cursor to the end of the line, then type H2. Please, we need to be fast with what we're doing here because this call is going to end in the next 15 minutes so that it will not throw us out. So type, move your cursor to the end of the line, type paragraph. No, no, no. Move it to the next line. Next line. Next line. I don't want this thing to throw us out of this class. I want to round up very. Move it to the end of the line, then press enter. Move your cursor to the end of H2, then press enter so that it takes you to a new line. Then you type paragraph. No, no, no. P. Yeah, click on P. Then you can give a short explanation about yourself. Sister Happiness, Rachel, Sophia, please, are we done with our own code? Are we done with what we were doing the other time? The code, are we done? Okay, somebody's just joining. Oh, no, already done. So let's continue before they this throws us out of the class. Now let's please stop presenting. Let me share my screen back. You can continue from where I went from. Please, can we all see my screen? Please, can we all see my screen? Please, can we all see my screen? Okay. So let's see the output of what we just of our first code. Would write codes on forms list the next time we meet. I don't want to rush the concepts. That's why I will not start it now because this call will end in the next 15 minutes and I don't want this. platform to throw us out of the class when we are getting notes. So let's see. You right click on your system. I don't know how people that are using phone. I'll have to like make a detailed step on how you can see the output. But if you are using system, it will be more easier since if you are using system, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? So we would open it with live server. Live server is where you get to see the output of your code. Whether you have data on your phone or not, live server will help you to display your code before you deploy it to the let me say the outer space. Yes, before you deploy it and before you make it accessible to other people. So live server would it works without data. It enables you to see the output of your code. So you click on open with live server. Why is mine not open? Why is it not open? Something is wrong here. Please, can we see the output? Can we see my screen? Can we see my screen? Can we see the output on my system? On my screen? Yeah. Let me. Okay. Nice. Okay. So this is the output of our code. Can we see? Can we see the output of our code? So we've written our first web page, like this, our first website. So what will make this website visually appealing? What will make it beautiful is CSS. What will make this heading probably change color or make it link to another thing is the work of JavaScript. What will make us put this Oyelado's web page in the middle, because this page is not properly aligned, is the work of CSS. What will make us change our font, structure it, make it more beautiful is the work of CSS. Do we get what I'm saying? Do we? So we've written our first web page like this, or website, let me put it like that. I would have said we should also write forms, create login forms, and list. But this call will end in the next. I think it should be like in the next 5 minutes now. And I would not want this. I would not want Google Meet to throw us out of the meeting when we're getting what we're doing. So far we've practicalized what we learned when we started this class. You can ask your questions, sir. I'm not free. That's why I cannot create another class. So our next class will also be like this. We'll write we'll write forms. Would write lists. Do you want to say something? Sim Simlane, do you want to say something? Happiness Sister Rachel, Happiness, and any other person, do we all have questions so far? Hope we all understood what I've been saying. Hope we understood what we did today, and hope we've learned one or two things. I want us to practice what we've done today and send a screenshot to the group so that I'll know that okay, these people are following, these people are getting what I'm teaching them. Do we understand? So any questions you have, you can ask now or you send it to the group and I'll answer your questions. So I guess till then I wish all of us a happy weekend and a wonderful day. Please go through what we've done today so that you get used to it. You get used to writing codes and get used to the tasks. Do we all understand? Please does anybody have anything to say before we end this meeting? Yes, ma. Yes, ma. Do we have any other person that wants to ask a question? Do we have any other person that wants to ask a question? Okay, ma, can ask your question. Amarachi, you can ask your question. You are raising your hand. Praise. You can ask your question. Praise. You can ask your question. Yes, I can hear you. You can ask your question. Okay, you can message me. I will explain to you. You can message me, ma. I will explain. Okay. So I will end the meeting now. I want all of us to practice what we've done today. I want all of us to practice so that we'll get used to writing code and get used to the syntax and the tags. So when we have our next class, the time and date for the next class will be communicated to the group. So we'll stop here for today. I wish all of us a happy weekend and please have a wonderful day. Goodbye.